Oh, what's going on, guys? We're at the land today, and as you can see in the title, trying to find a water leak. It's not really a leak; it's more of a seeping. I've got approximately close to right at about 2,000 feet of water line run from the meter and to the house and everything. I'll give you a quick little rundown of why. One, I'm way back off the road. Two, whenever I got this land, the water company, coming from the highway, the main water line is like a quarter of a mile down the highway. And that's where I was wanting the water meter, was at the end of my driveway. But there's two creeks. One of the creeks, well, actually both of them, they run into my land, and then they tie into one whenever they get further on my land. But where you would have to bore would be two creeks. They're little small creeks, but still. So I went to the board of the water company and asked them blah 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 and about the water meter, and so they came out and done an estimate, and then they said that about 3 months later he finally called me back, and first in the meeting he said, well, would you be willing to split some of the cost? And I said, yeah. I'm pretty much the only one out here on this water line, so yeah. There's a potential for further, I guess, but I pretty much own. There's a guy that's his land connects to mine. He's got a bunch of land, and he's already got his water line run from the road up to from the other crossover road, and then the crossover road over here. We're the only two that own right there, in between those two crossover roads. He's already got his water, so pretty much unless I sell some of my land, which I don't plan on doing, then there's really not going to be any more water lines run. But anyway, they quoted me $40,000 to run a main. I think it was it's either a 3 or 5 inch water main from up there, running a quarter of a mile, bore up underneath two creeks, and put my meter in. I was like, no way, I ain't doing that. And let me tell you guys, there's some nasty ass water out here. I don't know any of y'all watching my videos that live around here. Oak Hill water in Pontotoc, Mississippi. I'll tell you what, it's nasty. There's times I don't even, turn the water on, I don't even want to take a shower. Now granted, it is better out here than where I used to live down there. I'm still on the same water system, but it's a little bit better out here. But anyway, I said, no, I ain't paying that much. And so he said, well, if we just let them do the boring and we do the rest, then we can do it for about $20,000. I said, no. I said, I can have a well dug cheaper than that. And whenever I first bought this land, before I had everything put in out here, when I was out here doing the clearing, and I actually had 3 different well companies come out and give me a quote, and they was going to be anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000. And so I was like, no, I can have a well dug cheaper than that. So my other backup plan after that fell through was run through my woods. I got an easement from my other neighbor over here on the back side of me, and I was going to run through my woods, across his field, and then put a water meter at the end of his driveway. Well, whenever I got ready to do that, the house next to him, which is where my friend James lives. I don't know if y'all remember James, one that used to run with me with RV Transport. But his house is next door to that guy's field. And the water line comes on his side up until it gets James's water meter, and then it goes back across the highway, the road, and then keeps on going down the road. So if I'd wanted to put a water meter in at the driveway where the field is, I would have had to bore, or had it bored up underneath the highway. And they quoted me, I think it was a little over $2,000 to have it bored. I was like, good Lord. So, come to find out, James had 2 water meters on his property. He had his, and then one that wasn't being used from a house that was behind him back years and years ago. And apparently that water meter had gotten damaged or something, and it got replaced with a brand new water meter. Brand spanking new. Didn't even have no hours on it at all, or gallons, or whatever you want to call it. So I asked James, I said, can I run from that water meter, run across your front yard, then I get into my neighbor's field over here, run through his field, run through my woods, then all the way down. And I'm finna turn around, I'm gonna show you roughly where my water line runs. And he said, yeah. So pretty much the only thing I had to do was rent a trencher. Took me a day to trench it all out. Took me another day to lay it. And ended up running about 2,000 feet of water line. And that's the only thing I had to pay for, other than the deposit on having the meter cut on. Didn't have to have no boring done, didn't have to buy a meter, nothing. Just had to pay a deposit and have it turned on. So that was great. But anyway, I'm gonna turn y'all around, and I'm gonna put you on the tractor here in a minute, and because I'll explain to you real quick before I turn you around what I'm having to do. Those of you don't know how a water meter works, you know, you got the needle that runs all the way around and stuff like that. Then you got that little, some meters, some of them are different, but mine has like a little red, just a small little red, about the size of about the big as round as a pin. And you can see it. If everything's cut off, nothing should be turning. Absolutely nothing should be moving. Well, what got me, I've been out here for 3 years and never had a problem. And last month my water bill was about I think about $10-15 more than what it normally is. And so at first I was thinking I had a leak. I went ahead and paid it, and was thinking, well, I mean, I've been watering my watermelons, cucumbers, cantaloupe, and washing the tractor, the mower, and all that kind of stuff. So maybe I've used a little bit extra water, but I didn't really think so, because normally I don't even hit the minimum each month. Well, so I went over and looked, and sure enough, that little red one was just, what it would do, it'd turn just a little bit, then it just stop. Then it turn a little bit more, and then it just stop. And whenever I first put it in, it would sort of do that. It'd turn a little bit, then it'd back up. Then it'd turn a little bit, and then it'd back up. And that's mainly because you got 2,000 feet of water line, 1.25 inch line, and that water's just steadily going back and forth. So that was probably the reason that it was turning. Well, now it turns a little bit, and then it stops. Then it turns a little bit more, and then it stops. Turn a little bit more, and then it stops. And eventually, over a whole month, that thing's done made a lot of rotations. So this month's water bill is the same thing, $10-15 more. $10-15 adds up every single month. And the only problem is how I'm gonna try to track it down. I'm still not gonna really be able to find the leak unless it's at the house or a hydrant or something like that, because my water line is buried 3 feet deep. Whenever I buried this thing, I mean, I knew If something ever happened, yeah, it's gonna be a pain in the butt to dig it up. But I just wanted to make sure that it was good from freezing and all that stuff. So I buried it. It's between 2.5 to 3 feet deep. So, and like I said, it's not like it's busted and it's pouring out, because then I could be able to see the wetness on the ground. This is basically just a seeping. So there's no way I'm never going to find it if it's in part of the line under the ground. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. But basically, and I'm fixing to turn around and show you. Whoop, got y'all a little bit too close, sorry about that. But we got the water meter at the beginning. And then on my property, I got 3 shutoff valves. I got one at the fence line of my property line and my neighbor's field. And basically, I got him a hydrant up there. That was part of his giving me an easement, is I put him a frost proof hydrant on his land, and he could use it to wash his boat and tractor and stuff like that. But he don't hardly ever use it, and even if he does, it's not going to add up to that much water. So what I'm going to start, and then I got another one. I'll turn y'all around here in just a second, just bear with me. Then I got 2 more hydrants, one about right here where I'm standing, and one further down the driveway going towards the highway. And then where it crosses over my driveway going to my house, I got another shutoff valve there, and I'll explain that in just a second, why I got 3 shutoff valves. But I'm going to start with the one at the fence line. If everything stops moving, then I know it's not on that side of the between the meter and the fence line. If it does keep moving whenever I shut that valve off, then I know it's somewhere in between there. And then, but like I said, if it stops, then I'll cut that one back on, and then I will come up here and I will cut the one off going to these 2 hydrants. Same thing. If it stops, then that's going to tell me that it's somewhere between where it crosses the driveway into the house. I do not have any water. I done checked my toilets, done checked everything. I have no running toilets or anything like that. So if it keeps running, then I will I'll cut the one off going towards the house, and then if it keeps running, then I know it's in between these 2 hydrants, or at one of the 2 hydrants. But I'm gonna turn y'all around here, and I'm gonna show you what I got, and get over here to where my shutoff valve is. All right, so let me see if I can zoom y'all in here. All right, see that T-post right there? That's where my water line runs. See that one way down there? I don't know if you can see just to the right of that, that's my hydrant. And that's where my driveway goes, out to the highway. All right. So I come back up, and zoom y'all back out here. Water line runs up. This is an 1.25 inch line. Then it comes up to my hydrant right there. Right there where that cone is a shutoff valve. Okay. So it comes up right through there, then 90 degrees off to that. All right. So my water line from here, it runs all the way down through there, and I'll put you on the tractor and let y'all ride with me down to the fence line here in just a minute. But it runs down through there, and then let me zoom in here. All right, there's my other hydrant right there. So I got 3 frost proof hydrants on my land. Then it sort of cuts back that way, goes back behind the Tahoe and goes through the woods, and through the fence line and all that stuff. All right, let me walk right up here, zoom y'all back out. So right now I'm walking the water line. All right, right here is where it tees, and it comes from that way Continues that way with 1.25 inches, all the way from the meter, all the way down there. Right here where it tees, I dropped down to 1 inch. Went under my driveway to my house, but in between there where it tees into the house, I got another shut-off valve. And the reason I done that, guys, is if something ever busted on my side, then I can always, because in order to get to the meter, I have to go out my driveway to the highway, go down to the next road and get on it and go down to James's house and cut my meter off. So what I did is, the reason I put the shut-off valve at the fence line, I can just run down there and shut it off if something was to bust inside the house. And or say if that hydrant right down there busted, then I could shut it off down there, and then that would give me enough time to not lose that much water, cause that much more damage, and get down there and shut the main meter off. And then plus, he would still have water if he needed it, and then until I could get mine fixed, which I would have to get mine fixed because I live here. And then, so the reason I put that water meter there is because if one of those hydrants, that one or that one down there, ever busted, I could cut those off, and then I would still have water running to my house, and I could just fix those just whenever I got around to it. I don't have to have those. Then I put another one right here, so that way if something ever busts inside the house, I can just run out here just a few steps and cut this one off. Some of you may think, well, you don't need that many shut-off valves. Well, I don't know what to take. It's mine. Do what you want. And I got a car down there sitting beside my driveway. Oh, anyway. That's the way I do it. That's the way I feel comfortable. And you don't like it, oh well. Do it your way. But that's the way I do it. And so again, James is at his house. I'm gonna run over here and cut the one off the fence line. I'm gonna get him to go out there and check the meter and see if it's stopped or if it's still turning. Like I said, if it stopped, then I know it's further back up this way. If it's still doing it, then I know it's over there. So that way I can just do it, sort of save me time, and try to track it at least. I keep getting y'all, what's going on? Y'all like, anyway, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, sort of tracks it down the way I got a general idea of where it is. So, all right, I'm gonna put you on the tractor and we're gonna ride down there. All right. All right, guys, I'm finna set y'all up, and then I just want to tell you real quick while we're driving, if you see any wet spots on the ground, that's not from the water line. Trust me, I know. It rained last night, so that's the reason it's wet. There's just some low spots right there. So just letting you know, that's not what it is. All right. All right, guys, so there's the fence line. Water line runs down through that, right there on this side of that light pole over there. Then it cuts back down, about right there where that gravel is, just past it, is where that other meter runs. Let's see if I got a good camera, guys. All right, see the water meter, or the hydrant right there, runs through there. Runs down to his fence, or actually it runs right there in the corner, and then it shoots, zoom back out, then it shoots back that way over to James's house. All right, so here's my water meter at the fence. I mean, not the water meter, but the shut off valve at the fence line. and I got to dig that out so that way I can turn it off. And then I'm hoping, well, I'll take that back. I was gonna say I was hoping it's somewhere in between here, but the only problem is everything through here is buried. I'm hoping it turns out to be something above ground, or maybe at a hydrant, preferably maybe up underneath the house going into the house. That way it'll be easy to fix, because guys, like I said, if it's up underneath the ground, there's no possible way that I'm gonna find it until it is completely bust. It sucks because I'm just going to keep paying that water bill, but guys, I can't dig down. I mean, even with a mini excavator, if I rent one and dig all this stuff up, you're still talking about 2,000 feet of water line. Well, say if it was way up there. Right here, you're looking at maybe a little over 1,000, well, a little less than 1,000 feet. I think it's 800 feet from there to this meter, I think. So that wouldn't be too big, but still, I would have to get over there and dig up on his. My side, it wouldn't be no problem. If it was over there, I'd have to dig up on his side of the land, and I really don't want to do that, because he was nice enough to give me an easement and come through and dig all that stuff up. We finally got it cleared and smoothed out and got grass growing back, and I really don't want to mess up his land anymore. So let's just hope it's somewhere above ground. All right guys, I'm back. All right, man, I tell you what, it's hot out here today. Yesterday heat index 105. I think the temp was like 93, 95. Towards weekend, temp's supposed to be, could be up to 105, so heat index could be 115 or more. It is hot. We had a cold winter this past winter. I believe we're gonna have a hot summer. I don't think it's gonna be a long summer, but I think it's gonna be a hot one. But anyway, all right, so I cut that up there at the fence line. Whenever I cut that one off, everything stopped. So that told me that it wasn't on that side of the fence, it was on my side of the fence. So I came up here, I cut this this shut-off valve off, making sure that it wasn't going to that hydrant or the one down there. So I cut that one off, and it was still moving. All right, so I cut that one back on, and then I came over here to the one I showed you on the other side of the driveway. This is the one going to the house. All right, I cut that one off, and whenever I did, everything stopped. It completely stopped. So that told me it was somewhere between here to the house or in the house. I'm gonna go inside real quick and I'm gonna show you. And here a while back, whenever I first noticed that my water bill was up, turn y'all back around real quick. Whenever I first noticed my water bill was up, I knew my toilet wasn't running. I knew. I don't never go in my son's bathroom, so I called him and I asked him, I mean, you hear your toilet running or anything like that? And he told me no. I told him, I said, well, go in there and check it. And he went in there, or at least he said he did. I wasn't home. And he said no. And some of it could just be him being a typical teenager or whatever, and saying that he checked it, and he probably didn't, just to make me happy, say that he did. But at the same time, whenever I went in there just now, I couldn't hear anything, and which I told him to take the lid off and check it, and he said he did, but I don't know. But anyway, so I went in there, I didn't hear anything, didn't hear it running. And I took the lid off, and I saw some water coming out right there where the float is, just barely easing out. Now I'm going to go in there and show you where that was. So at least I found the problem, and and before I end this video, I'm going to try to go over at James's, and I'm going to show you that little red dial I was telling you about, so you know what to look for. And I'll put it at the end of this video. So But I'm gonna go in here real quick and show you the toilet and show you what it's doing. So at least I found the problem, and because I would a lot rather spend, I don't know how much them things are, $15, $20, $30, I don't know. I would a lot rather replace that than having to track down an underground line, then have to go out here and spend $200-300 to rent a mini excavator, dig it up, replace it, bury it back. That'd been a lot of money. But I guess that's what you get for living way back off the road and having to run water or big old water lines. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I love it out here, and whenever I get ready to build my cabin, I'm gonna be adding more water lines. So but anyway, I'm gonna run here and show you real quick. All right, guys. All right, it's really not doing anything now, because whenever I saw it leaking out there, then while James was still over there watching the meter, I reached down there and I cut the toilet, the water going to the toilet, off. And whenever I cut it off down there, it stopped again. So so that told me that, yeah, it was right here at the toilet. Well, whenever I cut that back on and I look back up here, well, now it's not doing it. So, and it's still not doing it. Maybe it just need to cut off and cut back on. I don't know. Before I replace this though, if it ever starts doing it again, I'm gonna adjust these screws and adjust this float right here, because that water line, I don't know if y'all can see, it's like right there at the top of the drain. So basically what happens, as this thing overflows, it's losing water, so it's got to put water back in. So it's coming out the float right here, filling it back up. See, I'll show you. Let's see. See, it's filling water up and it's draining it out as it reaches the top right there. So I may just have to adjust that float. Maybe I don't need a whole new system. But what it was doing, it was leaking. It wasn't leaking right there where you just saw. It was leaking like right in here, up underneath. So maybe that seal could be bad. I don't know. But I'm just going to, it's not doing it right now, so that's good. I'm going to keep an eye on it. If it ever does, I adjust the float and all that stuff. So if I have to, I'll replace the whole thing. Because, I mean, them things right there, they're typical about going out. You're going to have to replace them, period. They don't last forever. So that stuff like this is regular maintenance to a house. You're going to have to replace them. All right.